Hello everyone. It's James again. And in today's video, I want to talk about the lack of value shown to men in our society. And in the end what men and women can do to turn things around for the better. Because those that know me and the videos that I make know I don't like to just talk about the problem. But I also like to talk about possible solutions that can help enrich your life for the better. So to get things started, I wanted to focus in on young male and female relationships and show the problems men face that always seem to put them in the back of the line of life, so to speak. And how such things can also hamper this young man's chances at building a successful life. But how it can help propel such women ahead of the game of life. So in this example, you have a young man. He's enrolled in college. He has the normal high expenses that most college young people have. Tuition, books, food, housing, etc. Then this same young man meets a young woman enrolled at the same college that has similar bills and expenses as her male counterpart. The courtship begins and they start to date. The question that I raise is, who is paying for the majority of the courtship and dating process? Moreover, if you went on the street and asked random men and women who should be the responsible party, you would find that most would say it's the man's responsibility. They might even add to that answer they were raised old-fashioned and that's just how things should be. However, in old-fashioned times when men largely courted women in this manner, women didn't work. And if they did, they only worked until they became married. Back in those times, men knew they were going to be the primary breadwinner of the family, so a man wasn't actually losing in this manner to spend money on a courtship. But he was actually gaining. In most cases, this man was gaining a loyal wife that would raise his children. And we also have to look at something. Back in those days, amongst working class to almost middle class, women were more appreciative of the little things and didn't have the ever-growing expectations of today. However, most men back then could provide a modest house and take his wife out to dinner every now and then, and he was seen as quite a catch. However, that's not how things are seen today amongst many women in our society. And this can be blamed largely on the programming done through movies and television dictating the wants and desires of women. And getting them to see relationships as a free-for-all, get as much as you want out of a man type of a situation. And to never be happy with what you have. So what is today's young man facing? Well, actually it would be more correct to say he's competing. Every young male is competing, whether they know it or not, with all of the females on the campus for good grades, a degree, and at the end of the day the job they would like to have once their degree is obtained. But what happens is men are still stuck paying for all the dinners on their limited budget, movies, gifts, and other outings deemed required for typical courtships. And how does this positively affect the young women these young men are dating? They are able to save their money and apply it to building a financially successful life, such as purchasing a car with a larger down payment than most and having less of a car payment, saving money for a down payment for their first starter home. Have you ever seen a young lady that has a moderately paying job, but she has her own house, and quite possibly a nice car? And you think to yourself, how the heck was she able to afford such nice things? Well, the first answer is maybe she comes from a well-to-do family, but the other answer is maybe she's not well-to-do at all. But she's able to save her money and spend all of it on herself and her personal life building. Because all the men that dated her took care of the other expenses for her along the way. Men just as poor as herself. Men struggling to make ends meet. But they thought it was their duty to pay because they were men, and that's how things just are. Think about it. Men will go out and buy an expensive car on payments because they know it will increase their chances of meeting a woman. However, a woman can drive a plain round economy car to save money. And no one says anything negative. Women are not judged by the car they drive, the apartment or house they live in, nor the money they have. They are only judged by their personality and their looks. Meanwhile, men are not only judged by their personality and looks, but also the money they have, the car they drive, the apartment and house they live in, the other possessions they have, and even the major they are taking in school. Sadly, many men make bad financial choices early on in life. Many of these bad financial choices usually had to do with the courtship, or the hopeful courtship. of a young lady. And in the end they ended up with a car they couldn't afford, credit card bills for dinners that were out of their league to begin with, and gifts that others are to enjoy. Others that have long since broke up with this young male and are no longer around. The truth is young women are enrolled and graduating from college at a higher rate than males. And this is leading to women faring better in today's competition for jobs in the corporate world. So what's the answer? Well, first off, there's nothing wrong with being old-fashioned, as I am an old-fashioned type of guy myself. But don't be old-fashioned to your own destruction, and to the point where you are showing yourself disrespect, and placing no value upon yourself and your future. Men need to start making smart choices and truly see their education and getting the job they really want to have, or the business they want to own, as something to be mastered, and to not let anything get in your way of reaching your goals. The next thing is to build yourself up, your life and your masculinity. You would be surprised, though the world has changed, there are still some women out there that all they are attracted to is a man that is super manly. And they aren't so much into the gifts and money giving. Just as long as you are hardworking and are a born leader, and you make her feel safe when she's around you, you won't have to spend your nest egg or your tuition money on dates and gifts. This is why I shake my head at men that just want to opt out of life, because that's the end game result of those that are doing this to you, and those that are programming our culture want. They want the division of man and woman to be so great, to the point the family unit will cease to exist. This is where the self-work needs to happen. And you need to start taking a leadership role over your life, where you learn to be good at saving money and making good life choices. And taking some girl you just met to a $100 dinner is a bad life choice, and in the business world would be seen as a poor investment. If you want a nice car, make sure you buy a car within your budget and something that would be seen as a good business choice. And what's stopping you from taking an auto shop class one summer at your local community college so you can have self-knowledge on how to fix your own car and save money, so you can then buy a car that's seen as a good investment, and at the same time it may also up your manliness amongst the women you are dating. But this requires work on your part. It requires you to admit things for what they are and to fix them within yourself instead of saying these things are impossible. Hey, is life hard? Can you fix your problems? Yes. Men need to know there will be plenty of women out there willing to separate you from your money. However, if you start to run your life right, see things for what they are, you will be able to sidestep and see these women for what they are and end up spending your time with women that don't care about that kind of thing. And they are just as old-fashioned as you are. But you can't be some weak guy to get these types of women. They only respond to men that are good leaders, those that are manly and that have character about themselves, those that aren't scared of their own shadow. And sadly, because how things have become, men are either opting out of life or becoming paranoid to the point they are scared of their own shadow. They are becoming scared to talk to women, let alone date them. The other thing that needs to happen is the good women out there need to realize is that the good men out there are being taken from you. The good, straight men out there are being stripped of their masculinity and are being feminized. Through every stage of a man's life there are potholes at every turn waiting for him just to take his money away from him. So he will be less desirable to women and seen as having no chance of being able to support a family. Men see image after image, day after day, of men being shown to be losers and worthless. Men and fathers are being ripped from the lives of young males, and these young males lose that normal male energy that makes them men that women are normally attracted to. And with this happening, the woman that is working class, maybe not as smart as her other female counterparts, but still going along with the mainstream view of party as much as you want, and you don't need a man, end up in their late 30s regretting every last bit of it because they too may find themselves alone. These young women need to see things for what they are and once again celebrate the masculine male, to return to the time of where loyalty to one another meant something, and to know the images on television you see every day that show you what they want you to think a relationship is really like is just as fake as a $3 bill. Like I always say, knowledge is power. The more we know, the more we can live happy and healthy lives. Until next time. Bye for now. and be good to yourselves.